Hi everyone, welcome to Becky's Crafts and Goodies. Now today I'm going to show you how to make salt dough, and this is a fantastic little crafty idea. You can do it with the kids, but it's also great for adults as well. So if you're a little bit bored, stuck at home, looking for something to do, this is fantastic. Now as long as you've got these supplies in, there's only three things that you need. You need some plain flour, you need some water, and you need some salt. Now the quantities are, with the plain flour, you need a cupful, which is equivalent to 250 grams. You need half a cup of table salt, which is 125 grams. And you need half a cupful of water, which is about 125 ml. So with the water, you just add it as you go, just to see what you need. So to start with, in the bowl, we've got the plain flour. And then it's so super easy. You just add the salt into the mix. And then we'll just give that a bit of a mix round. You're best off using your hands when you do this. Hopefully you're not squeamish. And then all you need to do is to add the water. Now what I do is add around about just over half, give it a mix round, and then if you need to add any more, then you can add some more. So it's just sort of like give or take the amount. Now this feels absolutely disgusting, but you're better off just getting your hands in and getting stuck in with it. Now once you've done this, you need to knead it so it goes into once it's in a ball shape, you knead it. So let's give that a go. Right, what we're going to do now is just give it a bit of a kneading, give it a good mix around, just to make sure that all the salt is all the way through into the mixture. And then once we've done that, we're going to give the work surface a light dusting of the flour, and this will just stop it sticking to the work surface. Right, so I'm just going to take a smaller amount. Right, so once you've rolled it out, get your cutters. Now, because it's nearly Easter, we're going to use some Easter type cutters. But obviously you can do this at any time of the year, use whatever kind of cutters that you want. I've got some rabbit cutters and some little chicks, so I'm just going to use those. And you just do them exactly the same way that you would do a normal cookie cutter. So do it in exactly the same way. And then you need a baking tray with some baking paper or parchment paper on the top, and all you have to do is just put them on the tray like that and then pop them in the oven. There is a salt dough recipe where you don't have to cook it, but this is actually the one that you cook. So I'm going to make a few more different shapes now and then pop them in the oven. Right, so there's my first tray. And don't forget, as with cookies, to roll this up, roll it out, and make some more out of the little scraps. Right, so these are all ready, and what you have to do before you put them in the oven is to make a little hole. If you're going to make them into decorations or pendants or anything like that, you have to make a hole. So you kind of have to work out where you're going to put your hole. I just use a pencil because I just find that that's quite easy, and you just kind of put the pencil in and wiggle it around just until you've got the size hole that you want. And then these need to go into the oven. Now you're best off to preheat the oven, and the times kind of vary. If you look online, the times vary as to how long to put them in for. I think if you put them in too hot, sometimes apparently they crack. So I'm going to put this on around about maybe 150, see how they do. But we are going to be sealing them, so hopefully that'll be fine. They won't go mouldy. I've made a tray of hearts as well, which we're also going to decorate. So I'll just pop these in the oven now. Okay, so I've taken them out of the oven. They've all cooled down. Some have cooked a little bit more than others, but I don't think it'll matter because we're going to cover them, so you won't be able to tell. And what we're going to do to start with is to put a layer of Modpodge over the top of them, and this hopefully should prevent them from going mouldy. So what I'm going to do is pour some of this Modpodge into the lid, and if I just show you with one of them, I'll get the Modpodge, do a layer over it all, back and front, and then just let them dry, and we'll do that to all of them, and then we'll paint them. Right, so they take about 20 minutes to dry, so they don't take that long. I've put glue on both sides and around the sides of them. Right, so I've got a selection of paints that I bought up from the craft room. I've also bought up the gesso because I did wonder, you could maybe put a layer of gesso on first and that would just act as like a base, and then you can just put your paint over the top. You don't have to use this, but gesso is basically like a little surface preparation for acrylics, because I've got the acrylic one. So yeah, that's just a little tip. You could do that if you wanted to. Got a selection of different paints here, metallic, golds. We've got some different acrylic paint here. You could use chalk paint, I suppose, if you wanted to. As long as you seal it, then that would be absolutely fine. So what I'm going to do is pop a bit of paper down here. You have to be careful because it will stick to the paper if you're not careful. So just you know, bear that in mind. And all I'm going to do is just paint them. Right, so I think for these acrylic ones, I'm just going to go straight on and not bother using the gesso. But I think maybe for the metallic, I'll probably put gesso underneath that. So I save all these little tubs and stuff with packaging, and I find them ideal for things like this. And it is just literally, you just paint over the salt dough like that, let it dry, and then once it's dry, you give it another coat of paint. And I'm going to do that for all the others. So I'm going to do a variety of different colours, so we've got a nice kind of choice. Right, so they've had lots of coats, a couple of coats each, and these here are the gesso ones, the white ones. So what I'm going to do, now I've covered those in gesso, is I'm going to put some different kinds of paint over the top. This is acrylic paint, and it's like it's called Opal Magic, so it's got like a bit of a sheen to it. I might try some of these as well. I'm hoping it'll go on a little bit better because obviously it's had the acrylic gesso underneath. So I'm just going to grab a little brush, and hopefully this will give it like quite a nice little sheen as well. It will go over the top and it will have sort of a bit of a kind of iridescent kind of look to that one. And also what we can do is maybe put some glitter over the top. So the Nouveau glitter would look quite nice. I mean, that colour doesn't look too different to the gesso colour, but you can probably see that it is sort of shining there. Let's try another one. We'll try one of these golds and pop the gold over the top. This might need a couple of coats of the gold, but I think it should cover quite nicely. So there you go, gives it a little bit of an extra sort of different finish. So I'm going to go through the paints now, paint all these white ones, different kind of metallic-y, different finishes. Right, so I've started decorating a few. What I've done is I've just got the back of a paintbrush and I've dotted some colours on the top of this one. So you've got like a pink with grey on the top, and then the grey one, and it's got like a cream colour on the top, which I've just dotted. Some of these I'm going to leave because they're like a metallic-y colour. Also another idea is to get some glue, some tacky glue, maybe do sort of a zigzag on there and then put some glitter over the top, so you've got just a glittery zigzag. Or what you could also do is go over the whole of the piece with some Mod Podge and then sprinkle it with glitter, and that will give like a nice glittery shimmery. Right, so now we're going to start and decorate a few. What I've done since seeing you last is I covered them in some, once they were dry, I covered them in this wax finish varnish. Now you can get the satin one or you can get the dead flat. Now I use the satin, so I want it to have kind of that sort of finish. I quite like how the little bunny rabbits have turned out because they've gone a bit raised and it kind of makes them look a little bit 3D, which I think is quite cute. So some of them I sprinkled some glitter on, some of them I kept just with the wax finish over the top. So what we're going to do now is to decorate a few. Now I've decorated most of them and I've left some to show you, to give you some ideas. So let me just show you this one to start with. So this is the grey one. I put a sprinkling of glitter over the top and then went over it with the wax finish varnish as well. Left it plain on the back. And with that, just to give you some little ideas, I've got some thin ribbon here. You can do this with lots of them if you're going to do them individually. Cut some ribbon off. Loop it over like that. And then this top part, you want to push through the hole. Now if you find it hard to get the ribbon through the hole, what I did, let me just reach over and grab one, is I used a cocktail stick and then just poke that through. That just helps you to get it through, and then pull it through the back, and then you take that part and just put that through there. Then that gives you a hook, and then at the top here just fold it over and you can make yourself like a little hangy bit, and then just snip those extra bits off at a bit of an angle. And then with this one I put a dab of glue, so I've got my hot glue gun here, and then put a tiny little flower, and it looks like the bunny rabbit's got a flower in a sort of by her ears. And there we go. So I've made a few of those. I've actually made 3 of those. So there, that's that little design, which I think are really cute. I think it's probably my favourite design actually. So now I'll just show you another couple of designs that I've done. Right, I've got a couple more bunny rabbits here. Again, I've used slightly different paint on there, and I've put some of this lace on and one of these small flowers. Now these flowers came from Wild Orchid Crafts, if anyone is wondering. You can have a look around on the internet. There's quite a few places that do sort of papery flowers. Obviously lots of the shops are not open at the moment, so it'll be quite hard to get what you normally could, but there are still lots online. And I just used this kind of lacy string here. Just thought it gave it kind of complemented the colour really well, and just go through exactly the same way that we did the other one and tie on the top. And with this I'm just going to use a slightly different coloured flower, just so it makes them look slightly different. So I've got a little posy of flowers here, so all I'll do is just cut a piece off and then hot glue that on there as well. Right, these would also be fantastic for maybe wedding favours. You can get the flowers to match your wedding theme as well, so they'd be really quite cute. And again, you don't have to do bunny rabbits, you could do all sorts of things. I want to show you a few others that I've done. They're the bunny ears, similar kind of thing. I've put some glitter on the top of those. I've made a couple of those ones. Also with the hearts, I painted these gold and put some black ribbon in, and sort of double bowed ribbon there for gold and black ribbon, so I think they look quite cute as well. These ones, kind of a pearl kind of colour, got some of the thin beads, just stuck one of those little flat back sparkly gems on, and again they look really cute. You can hang those up. You could also put initials on them as well. If you want to do this, you can maybe put them in a box frame, put the initials on, put them on a tree. You know, you get the family hanging trees, you could do that, write names on them. That would also look really cool. I've got a couple more that I've done here. These are with the smaller hearts. So all I did was pop a bow on. That was a pre-made bow, and then also put that at the top there, a little bit of the ribbon, the thin ribbon through the top. So there's a couple of those, but again you could do any kind of colour scheme that you want. This next one here is that kind of beautiful colour, and I put some sprinkling of glitter over the top of that. And all I did here, if I show you with this one, is I looped this one slightly different. I just folded the ribbon over. It probably could do with a slight iron actually, the ribbon for this, because it is a bit, sort of a little bit creased, but just poke that through there. Cocktail sticks are really quite handy to use, and make sure that the hole's big enough when you're actually making them. I also used a straw to make a hole in a few of mine. I found that worked really quite well. So all I did with this is just fold it through, and then on the top part make sure they're all kind of sitting up together, and then tie around the top like that, and then you can hang it. So you can kind of tie it two ways really, but I thought that colour went really well and then just snip off the end bits at an angle. And there you've got those couple there as well. Right, this next one here, I've left them quite plain because I think they look really pretty. They're kind of iridescent kind of colour, and I just put some grey thin ribbon on, so I think they look really sweet. They'd also make really nice presents for, I know we've just had Mother's Day here in the UK, but they'd make really nice presents as well if you could put like mum, grandma, nanny, anything like that on them, if you wanted to give them maybe as a keepsake for someone. So they'd be really cool for that as well. Now, not only can you make those kind of like singular hanging things, you can also make bunting as well. So if I just slide this in, you will see that I have made some bunting out of them. So I've got some of the small heart shapes and just threaded them onto some string. So I've got a small one and I've also got some of the large hearts as well. And if I just show you how to start it off and end it, you'll be able to do these yourself. So obviously get your twine, and when you first go through, you need to leave enough room at one end to do a loop, and this is so you can hang it up. So you just loop the end like that, so you just tie in a hangy little section. And then once you've done that, work out where you want your first heart to go. I'm just going to cut that little stray bit off there because it looks a little bit tassely. So once you've worked it out where you want it to go, get the heart or the object, and what I do is I tie it so you can actually tie it so it stays where it's supposed to stay, because they will kind of wiggle and move about. So I do a double knot and get them to stay exactly where you want, and then after that you get the next one. So I'm doing alternative colours, so you just go through, work out where you want it with the gap that you want, and then tie another knot in that section, double knot, and then go along and do all the same for the rest of the bunting. I'll also show you another bunting that I've got, and this is with the Easter theme. So I've done the same thing, tied the end there, and these are the pink Easter eggs that I did, put some glitter on the top of them, obviously sealed them over the top, and I've also got the bunnies too. So I've put these, started to thread these onto the bunting. I'll obviously do, this one will be next, but I thought what would look quite cute is to put some of these ribbons on. I've got some light pink and I've also got some dark pink as well. So when I put them on, I'll put one on like that, I'll put one on like that, and then do the same as it goes all the way along. I've also got this little chick. I decided not to do anything with that because I just think it looks really cute, and I didn't want to put anything through the eye because I think it looks quite sweet as it is. So I'm just going to finish these now, set these out for you and show you what I've made. There we go. So there we are, they're all finished. So I'm really pleased, and it's amazing really what you can make with some flour and some salt and a bit of water, and how the only thing that limits you really is your imagination. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've really enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed making it. It's taken me a couple of days because we've kind of spread it out over a couple of days. But as I say, I've really enjoyed doing it. So I hope you were okay and taking care of yourself and everyone else. And I will see you all again soon. You take care. Bye for now.